Hi everyone, welcome today. I'm just gonna wait a little bit until we get some more of the last signs in. Can you see me and can you hear me properly? Can you please write it in the chat box? Yes to both, perfect. Diane, perfect. Hi Renee, Jasmine, Candace, perfect. Oh, we got some French. Bonjour. Perfect, okay. So perfect. Everyone can hear and see. Awesome. So we're just gonna once again just wait a little bit until we get some more. There's a couple more people coming in. Guyane, I'm French as well, but bilingual. Awesome. You can if you want to write in French, I can always read it. And I don't know if I can give the best translation in French. I do speak French, but it needs to be brushed up on. But welcome. And so today, so I just want to introduce myself first. My name is Chrissy, and I am the trainer for PreEmpt. So PreEmpt is a product that's sold in Canada, hospital grade, to disinfect, clean, disinfect, and sterilize your tools, disinfect your tools, but also disinfect your surfaces and your foot baths. So in this, hi Teresa, perfect. Okay, and you distribute PreEmpt, perfect. So in this webinar, I kind of wanted to do, just like I've done with my other brands webinar, a Q&A, because I just wanted to see if people, I was getting a lot of feedback that people want to know, again, how to use the product properly. You know, going back into our work as soon, some businesses are going to start to reopen. Are we ready to fight this virus? Are we ready to go back and have everything implemented that's going to make your business flourish as well? Have your clients start coming back? Because even though we will reopen, some clients might hesitate still coming in. Some will come in, but will expect much from you when it comes to disinfection and sanitation and cleaning. So good morning, Marcia from Toronto. And from Ontario, Teresa. Good morning, everyone. So we can start with the questions, but I also have a presentation that I had used last time if there's new attendees today that didn't attend to the last webinar I did on the product knowledge, and we can go through the slides of the products as well. I have some on my table here. To show what our range is, but as when we pop up the slide, we can go through some steps. But first I wanted to hear everybody's questions. If they have any questions that I can handle and help for that when you do get back to work, you know you're doing the right things according to your provincial guidelines and Health Canada. So this is a Canadian product. So if I know in a couple of webinars we did have US, so whatever I'm stating is according to the provincial guidelines for all the provincial guidelines for Canada. Okay, so if we want to start asking some questions, hello, bonjour, bonjour. A lot of people still coming in, flowing in. Okay, so Celine, I would really like to see the HLD5 in a 1 liter spray bottle. Okay, so first thing is the HLD5 cannot be put into a spray bottle. This is the question we've been getting a lot since the RTU, the ready to use, our surface cleaner was obviously in high demand because of the coronavirus. So it was selling out pretty quick, and the manufacturer timing took a while to get it. People wanted to use our CS20 in a spray bottle and disinfect the surfaces. So talking with the manufacturer of PreEmpt Virox, they do not suggest this because, first of all, the HLD5 and the CS20 are meant for tools, and it's meant for full immersion in those solutions. There's not been testings done that either you could, because people were asking if they can dilute it and make it a surface cleaner. There haven't been any testings done for it to be effective in that sense. So we can't go ahead and and say, yes, you can use it as a surface cleaner if you dilute it. So try and keep your the products of PreEmpt in the sections are supposed to be. So for HLD5 and CS20 is to fully immerse your tools, to reprocess your tools, your aesthetic tools, your hard metals, your hard plastic, your your cuticle nippers, your cuticle pushers, to stay immersed in the solution. And then you keep your RTU as your surface cleaner. Now, if you get into the bind where your RTU it's hard for you to purchase it, we do have the concentrate, which it does get diluted, but can work as a surface cleaner as well to use in the meantime until your RTU comes in order, like the distributor brings it. So I hope that kind of answers your, give me 1 second to go back to Celine. So I hope that kind of answers your question. In a sense of putting it in a 1 liter, I know we do get that too, so that people don't have to keep buying, they don't want to be buying the big 4 liter, but it won't, if they do decide to do it in a 1 liter, I'm not quite sure. It's not going to be a spray format. It's just going to be for you to immerse into your container. So depending on your soaker tray, you might need the 4 liter, even though it's reusable for 14 days. But if you're not a high turnover salon, then I can understand why you might want the 1 liter. But for now, it only comes in the 4 liter. So I hope, let me know, Celine, if I answered your question. For the next one, give me 1 second. I do not see the PreEmpt wash. Yes, this is for Guyane. So the PreEmpt wash, unfortunately, has been discontinued. I actually really did enjoy it because I do come from a background of aesthetics, and I still do practice aesthetics. I did enjoy using the wash because it was bacteriostatic. It was didn't leave any oil residue, as some soaps can do. So if they're not properly rinsed off of your tools and then you immerse them into the solution, it can inactivate the solution, and then you're not getting your proper high-level disinfection happening or your sterilization happening. So I was really upset that they have gotten rid of it. So unfortunately, it's no longer available, but you can use what you're using now as a wash for soap, soap, whatever you're using, or another brand. Monique, pros and cons on displaying this product when we get to the salon so clients can see that we're using. What would be the cons, if any? There wouldn't be any cons if your clients see. I do urge you to have, we have these wonderful marketing tools that you can download from the Virox Pro Beauty website, and there is one that talks about how to protect your spa and your salon, and it did mention to share the knowledge. So to have those products that you're going to use to disinfect, especially your surfaces, your clients coming back to the salon are going to want to see what you're using to disinfect your surfaces, because that's what they're going to be touching, right? Your manicure tables, all the doorknob handles. So having the products, so we have, as we mentioned, our wipes. So this is a little kit that we created for Fight the Virus. But having your wipes available and your spray available somewhere where the client can see it will be very, very, very useful. And actually not just seeing the product, but actually seeing you use it. So when you come, and they come in, if you're wiping it, the table down, preferably using the wipes a little bit easier so you don't spray at them. You can show them that you are practicing the proper disinfection. Give them a little bit of an education. Say, in 3 minutes with this wet contact time, I'm going to achieve the proper disinfection for bactericidal, fungicidal, virucidal. So it's helping with the coronaviruses too, to fight those if they're on, to kill them if they're on the surface. So show them, speak to them about it, what you're doing. So I hope that answers your questions. There's not really cons because the RTU is Eco-Logo certified, so it's not a harsh product. As another point that I mentioned into this 4 steps to protect yourself in your salon, it says avoid harsh chemicals. So if you're not using PreEmpt and you're using something else, you might want to go back and read up on it, see the the pictograms on it to see, is it corrosive? Is it harmful to your respiratory? Is, you know, VOCs, volatile organic compounds? Is it going to be damaging even to the aquatic life when you pour it down? But you're not going to have any cons of having it displayed for your customer to see that you're cleaning and disinfecting your surfaces. As well, we do have tent cards, so check with your local distributor. There are tent cards that after you finish cleaning and disinfecting the surface, mainly these tent cards are going to rest on a table or on a foot bath. You can't, or on the reception table, to show that you did clean the reception table as well and disinfected it, because it's going to be a very high touch area. Even cleaning and disinfecting your point of purchase, your debit machines and stuff like that, very, very important when you get back, and you can use the RTU for all of this. So I hope that helped you. And also putting on your walls, which we have products like files like this, or like this one that talks about PreEmpt, disinfection, and coronavirus. What does PreEmpt have to say? On the back, it shows the products you're going to use and the steps. Putting stuff like this up on the wall too, as well as from the WHO organization, they have hand washing posters, or even 7 steps to avoid. So, you know, for you as an owner, and what your clients do when they're coming in, what they should be avoiding. Putting stuff like this on the walls as marketing material to show what you're doing in your salon and what you're doing to care for your clients as well, not just yourself and your staff. Okay. Hope, Monique, that answered. Celine, perfect. It answered your question. Okay, so there's a question from Candace. Sorry. Candace, I have a question about RTU spray. If left a sticky residue on my surface after allowing it to air dry, suggestion. Oh, okay. I never had that incident happen, because I use the, you know, I even use it at home, but after the spraying, if you leave something sticky residue, does that mean that maybe, you know, even though the RTU is a one-step cleaner disinfectant, if your surface, whatever you're cleaning, had still a lot of organic like material or soil on it, like it was so heavily soiled, wipe that first. Because if it's a lot of debris that's on there, and then you use the cleaner disinfectant, maybe it didn't completely remove it because it was heavily soiled, and that can maybe be leaving a sticky residue. I have really not have heard this issue or myself from having this happen. So check and make sure that what the surface that you're cleaning, it's not heavily soiled. Also, maybe if you feel that even you can leave, it's just 3 minutes of contact time, right? So if you still saw some wet residue after the 3 minutes and didn't completely air dry, maybe just take a paper towel, a brand new clean paper towel, and wipe it down. Maybe that will help as well with the stickiness. We have Yamil. Hi from Tan Brûlé. How are you, Yamil? Welcome. Okay, so Gaia, oh, sorry, I just think I skipped some. What can be used in an ultrasonic? Yes, good question, because you are using the wash for the ultrasonic. So any other company that has a bacteriostatic wash, use that one in your ultrasonic, because I'm not quite sure you can put, I haven't really delved into if you're allowed to put like a soap-based, but I think any bacteriostatic wash that's out there from another company, just try and pour that inside your ultrasonics. Okay. The next question is, okay, so the same question from Guyane, is it being replaced with something? At the moment, nothing that I know it's being replaced with anything else. I don't know about the future, if they're going to have a different product for wash, but for now, just as I mentioned before, I use another bacteriostatic cleaner. I could though check and see if if you email me afterwards with the question, if our concentrate, which I doubt it, I know they're used as a cleaner and disinfectant, but I'm not quite sure you can put that in the ultrasonic either. I could check and see, but check for any other bacteriostatic wash that's out there. Let's see. Yes, I got it. No worries. Okay, so Patty, what was the name of the site where we can download the sheets? It is viroxprobeauty.com. So I can .ca. Sorry, .ca. At the end of this slide, I can pop up. I have some slides here. I can pop it up and I can show you again. But it's viroxprobeauty.ca. Okay, and there is some sections for resources, and there is some sections that talk about, you can click for COVID-19 and you can get these files. So as I mentioned, there is a beautiful file on how to protect yourself and your salon spa, 4 ways, as well as what does PreEmpt have to say about coronavirus and how the RTU is what you can use. It's been gone through some vigorous testing. So it does help with the coronaviruses, and on the back side, it does have the steps of how to use the wipes and the liquid, and then a little bit of a history, some highlights, research highlights of the active ingredient of accelerated hydrogen peroxide, how it's a proven history of preventing transmission of coronaviruses. So that would be also nice for you to download, read it, print it, have it somewhere available, maybe in a lucite frame for your customers to see too, because of that technology is what's helping to fight the virus. Okay. So, oh, what is this message? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So I hope I got that for you, Patty, the question. Where can I download that sheet? Yep, Yamil. So it was viroxprobeauty.ca. Yes, clients are educated. I agree. Yeah. So even before the virus or coronavirus came out, like the COVID-19 came out, as a mobile esthetician as well, I always educate my clients, even when I'm going to their place and doing these services of pedicures and manicures. I always showed them what I'm doing afterwards with their tools. I always carried my disinfectant in with me, even if it was the CS20 or the HLD5. I would pour it in the container right there and just let them see what I'm doing with the tools. I also started to implement steri pouches because they're not in a salon setting. I would implement that my tools were in a pouch, and I would open it right in front of them, just like how a dentist would do. So I educated them. I let them know this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm using. This is what's happening when I'm using this. This is my contact time. What is contact time? To the briefest extent that you can. You don't want to overwhelm them, right, with it. But educating your customers it's a must with any of the stuff that we do. The knowledge is power, indeed. Ashley, can you share the website there where we can find the marketing material? Yep, we mentioned that before, so hopefully you got that, Ashley. And if not, I'll pop up the slide at the end. For Carolyn, what is the difference between CS20 and HLD5? So as by the names, so CS20 means chemosterilant for 20 minutes. So this is going to kill everything, including your spores. So it's a cold soak as opposed to using a autoclave. If you have an autoclave, usually health inspectors do like when you have an autoclave where you use steam heat, steam pressure to kill the viruses or bacteria. But they are pretty pricey. Also, testing has to be done regularly on them to make sure that the calibrations are right, that it's actually doing what it's supposed to be doing with the pressure, with the steam, with the heat. So this is a step down. You would be using a cold soak, which is a chemosterilant for your tools. So for your cuticle nippers, for your comedone extractors, for your reprocessing of your handles of your microblading, right? So anything that's hard metal, hard plastic, your foot paddles that you're doing that you have replaceable grits, they're the same as well, okay? For the HLD5, sorry, I didn't have the product with me because I was running out of space on my table here, but it's a 4 liter. So for HLD5, The name stands for high level disinfectant. So your tools, your aesthetic tools, fall into place of using a high level disinfectant and a chemosterilant. So the HLD5, you can high level disinfect for 5 minutes. So if you're like a very high turnover salon, obviously the HLD5 is quicker. It's in 5 minutes. You can have your tools back to do your next service. But if you're going to want to use CS20 because you want to go above the bar and you want to have the safest method, a lot of estheticians go for CS20. But it's 20 minutes. So if once again you're a high turnover salon and you have pedicures or manicures one after, kind of almost booked one after the other, have a second set of tools. It's very useful because you don't ever want to skip out on doing the proper cleaning and the proper disinfection or sterilization with the proper contact time. If you do not have those tools fully immersed into the solution with the contact times that's mentioned on the label, with any brand you use, then you're not achieving the proper disinfection sterilization, which means you're not killing everything. If you were to remove it earlier than the timing, you haven't achieved proper disinfection or sterilization, and in turn, you can't infect someone. Okay, so if the timing is too long, have a second set of tools. Another thing too to implement into your schedules when you're going to start booking your clients again is factor into your services also time for your cleaning and disinfection. Okay, because before people would say, oh, we don't have time, we have a customer after customer. So in your blocking of your service, add in 5 minutes it takes to clean your surfaces. If you're going to clean your surfaces, if you're going to have a second set of tools, and it's fine, just make sure you go clean them and put them in the solution, and then you can come back to the customer with your second set of tools. But disinfecting your surfaces and stuff, it's going to take 3 minutes, or your foot baths, depending on if you have circulating or non-circulating foot baths, it takes 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Implement that timing into your service blocking time. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question, Caroline. Give me 1 second. Oh. Just hopping on, is there supposed to be audio? This is the question, sorry. I'm having some trouble. 1 second, please. Sorry, I'm just having some trouble. Okay, so Celine, I'm expecting some clients will want some spray and wipes for home use. Is there a resale option? Not that I know of. For resale, this is a professional product, so I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to create something that's for home care use. I could find out with that, and you'll have my email at the end, and I can see, but this is a professional grade product, okay? Let's see what the... Okay, so Laura, it says just hopping on and there's supposed to be audio. Yes, refresh. I don't know if you can hear me, but refresh or make sure your microphone, I mean, not your microphone, your speaker is on that you could hear, all right? Okay, so Chantal, with CS20, the water will neutralize the product. Is it the same thing with RTU, or is it not water sensitive? So any disinfectant that you're going to use, you shouldn't have water or anything that's going to inactivate it. So same with RTU. Anything that's going to be on that surface that's liquid or that's a lot of debris, it's going to weaken the solution. So make sure that there's nothing on there. Wipe first with anything you do with the surfaces. Wipe first with a paper towel and then spray, because it will inactivate the effectiveness of it. Whatever's on there, let it be liquid or let it be soil. So wipe first with a paper towel. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, make sure you're not muted, Laura. How do I check that? So we might have to type that for Laura. Hopefully she got into this because I'm way up with my questions. So hopefully Laura got in. Let us know if you did. So Candace, I had just finished washing the surface and dried it. So Candace, this is going back to the question of the stickiness, if I can remember right. So if you air dried it, so you wash it, but once again, before you wash the surface, was there a lot of debris on there? Was there maybe some gels or stuff like that from the nails? I don't know if you were doing a manicure, if the surface you're talking about is a manicure table, or if it's a pedicure foot bath. But if it was a manicure table, maybe you were doing acrylic nails or gel nails, or was there something on the surface that you didn't wipe first and then integrated the solution? How easily will these products to get once we reopen? 1 week before closure, it was hard to obtain from my supplier. So unfortunately, I can't really predict that. I know once we reopen, even then the call for these products is going to be higher. So I would have to be patient with the manufacturer, patient with the master distributorship that's getting into the distributors. But I'm for sure hoping that they will pick up in having the products shipped out a little bit faster. They will figure out something. Once again, remember too that a lot of companies were affected by this virus, and a lot of staff is not available. So to produce is also taking a while. To ship is also taking a while. So just keep that in mind as well. That it's going to be a little bit harder even when we get back to work with staffing as well. Okay. Candace, you're welcome. I hope that was okay. Chantel, Candace, I had the same problem when you just wait 3 minutes and let them to dry. So Chantel, you said you were getting the same thing about the surface being sticky. Just remind me again if that's what it was. Because once again, I've never experienced this. I never had people call me and ask me for this. I'd like to figure out what the issue is. So let me know if that's what it was. Kelsey, once the bottle's open, how long is the shelf life of the open product? So they have about an 8 to 9 month shelf life, and on them as well, they have, I'm not sure this one would have because it's a sample, but they will have a stamp of the expiry date. So they try to give it 8 and 9 month shelf life. Let me just see. These are all sample bottles, so I don't think there's an expiring date, but they do have an expiring stamped on them as well. Okay, good, Yamiel. Okay, Chantel, just wipe with a towel paper to take off the RTU and the sticky are gone. Yeah, so this is basically what I was trying to say was before you put the solution, the disinfectant on, because remember the RTU works as a cleaner and disinfectant, but before you do spray that, make sure you wipe the table first, just with a paper towel. I wouldn't suggest using cloths because I don't know how many times it's been used, but just take a paper towel and dry that surface, spray. If in the 3 minutes there's still some residue on there, wipe it down, or even after, take a brand new paper towel and just wipe it down. It could have been, as I mentioned, something that was there before from the service, maybe lotion, or cream or gels from the nails that might have didn't work well with the disinfectant and made that stickiness. I'm not quite sure. Teresa, can I soak hairstylist scissors and combs in CS20 or HLD5? Or is it just for aesthetics tools? Just aesthetic tools. If you were to soak in hairstyling tools, pretty expensive, your shears and your scissors, they do cost a lot. And they're not meant to be put in such a high level disinfectant. Usually the hairstylist tools are deemed intermediate level because you're not, you're working on intact skin and you're not puncturing, right? In general, you shouldn't be puncturing. Maybe if you're shaving or your straight blade, you might nip, but with your shears and your scissors, you shouldn't be doing that. So avoid putting it in there because they're expensive and it could break down the material of your shears. So usually you use your clipper side, you usually have a spray that you can spray, or people are using, or hairstylists are using alcohol, 70% base alcohol. So keep it with that. Don't put in the CS20 or HLG5. It's not meant for your hairstyling tools, just for aesthetic tools. What is the best for the foot bath with just air jets that do not circulate? Perfect. So if all of us already know, there are two types of foot baths out there. There's a circulating foot bath and a non-circulating foot bath. So think of the circulating foot baths just like your hot tubs. They have piping system, an extra piping system, not the one that drains, but another piping system that recirculates the water and makes that bubbling spa kind of feeling. Those foot baths have been slowly, they did not making them anymore, so I believe I can say that they've been discontinued. So companies are not making these ones, because in that piping system, biofilm was formed, and biofilm works, it magnetizes, like it builds up from all the nails, all the bacteria, all the whatever debris was in your foot baths, and it gets built up in the pipe. And if you don't purge it, or if you don't disinfect those pipes after each client, it builds up, and eventually it will make it so hard for you to break down the biofilm, because a biofilm is like a non-envelope kind of becomes, so it's harder to break it. It's hard to break biofilm down. So you'd either have to get rid of your foot bath, and they cost a lot. So they're slowly making those extinct. But if you do have them, because you've kept them in a good condition, you would need to use the concentrate. Once again, I don't have it here, but if you're using a circulating foot bath, you'd have to use our concentrate at a 1:40 ratio, and you let your water bubble with it to break down the biofilm in the foot bath. But if you're using the newer foot baths, or the foot baths that they've been making after this, are with the jets. So they have magnetic jets on the side. So there's not that extra plumbing to recirculate the water. It's these jets with fans. You would use your RTU. So you're considering you would label these foot baths under your surfaces. So it'd be surfaces and non-circulating foot baths. And you would be using your RTU the same way you'd be using your how you'd be using on the surface. But what we suggest too is, if you see in the protocols that you'll download from the website, even having a scrubber too. So before you implement the solution, scrub around, because when you're working on the nails and it's in the water, all the residue from the clippings, from the oils, it would create a ring around. So that can be considered like a biofilm. Take a brush, knock all that off, scrub it, and then after you're going to drain it, and then you're going to implement your RTU to spray. Let it sit for your 3 minutes, and then you're going to rinse it off or wipe it off, and then it's ready to be used. Okay, so easier for the non-circulating foot baths. It's a little bit quicker, because the contact time for circulating foot baths is 5 minutes when you're using the concentrate. Okay, so hopefully that helped you. Also, those jets that are magnet, those can come off. Of course, they can come off, and if you open the pieces and take out the filter, take out the fan, disinfect those too. Wipe them down with a paper towel, put them on a brand new paper towel on a table, and spray them. Or if you're going to use the wipes, but spraying is a little bit better. Spray those individual parts, let them be wet for 3 minutes. Wipe them down, put the magnets back, the filter back, put everything, the fan back, and then put them back onto your side of your foot baths, because these can get also trapped around and inside the nail clippings, the oils, anything that's the bacteria that's in that foot bath. Okay. So hopefully, Jasmine, that answered your question. Linda, did you get sound? Oh, Laura. Hi, Laura. Did you get sound? I hope you did. Thank you for writing that, Linda, for Laura to refresh. I appreciate that. Okay, you get water spots. So you get little spots that didn't air dry. So yeah, wipe it down. Sorry, I thought it was the same question as before about the stickiness. Chantel, yes, but I think it's happened each time I just let dry the RTU and not dry it with a paper towel. So I think, Chantal, you're mentioning the same thing about the water spots. Correct me if I'm wrong. What's the best option for pedicure top? So we did have that question already answered on top. Sarbjeet, let me know if what I mentioned just earlier about foot baths answered your question. So it would, if they're non-circulating, you'd be using your RTU, liquid or wipes. If it's a circulating foot bath, you'll be using your concentrate at a dilution of 1:40, the ratio. Jade, would you say the wipes and RTU are interchangeable, or are they recommended to be used together? So are you talking about either or to use? Because they don't need to be used at the same time, both of them. You can choose your option if you want to use the wipes or if you want to use the liquid, the spray. So usually the wipes are a little bit easier to use because you don't have to spend the time to wipe or have paper towel. But once again, the liquid becomes a little bit more cost effective than the wipes because the wipes are a little bit more expensive, but they're more convenient, you can say, the wipes. So they don't have to be used together. I hope that's if that's answering your question. Montana, how long is a single wipe good for? Like to use the same wipe to do table, chair, incline chair, or should it be changed per item you're cleaning? Changed per item you're cleaning. You can't reuse that same wipe because that wipe has been, I guess you could say, cross-contaminated. So that wipe has to be thrown away, and that wipe starts to dry out and it becomes diluted, whatever is on the dilutes the RTU, the solution, right? The HP technology. So it's not advised to reuse that same wipe. That's why I tend to say that the wipes, they are convenient. You know, you get the door hand knobs and stuff like that, wipe the phones down. They're very, very convenient, but the cost is greater than the liquid. So you might have to implement both. You can have your liquid for more flatter surfaces, more like bigger surface, I guess you can say, or maybe having the wipes more harder crevices areas like handles. It's easier instead of just spraying and having all the solution come down. You can have your wipe to clean it, or your faucets, or it just becomes preference of what you find more convenient for you. But do not reuse the wipe over and over again, single use, okay? Sarbjeet, perfect, and you got the answer. Sorry, Sarbjeet, sorry. Jade, perfect. Jasmine, I find the CS20 burns my fingers when I take the tools out of the container to rinse off. Suggestions. Also find some of my tools rust in the CS20. Why? Okay, so first thing first, never put your fingers in the solution of the CS20. First reason is, yes, it's got a high percentage of the AHP technology, so it's 7%, so it's stronger. Do not put your fingers in there because apart from it having a little bit of a irritation sensation, does sometimes even turn a little bit like white. So even if you're wearing gloves too, do not stick your hands in there. Your hands can cross-contaminate the solution. Okay, so if you're using the soaker trays like this, I'm not quite sure if you're using a soaker tray like this, what we suggest too is to have stainless steel tongs. If you don't have a tray that has, trays stuck. Oh, and these are, sorry, I have some when I go teach schools. This is what the jets look like on the side of your non-circulating foot baths, and it opens up and there's a filter inside and there's like a fan, and you remove and you clean that. So I'm just showing you that for people who might not know about the non-circulating foot baths. And then if you have a tray like this, a soaker tray like this that opens, there is a lifting tray. So you should have this beside your sink. You take off the lifting tray. Your hand has not gone into the solution. First thing is, if you put your hand in solution, it burns. It can burn. It has irritation. It goes away pretty quickly afterwards when you rinse it with water. But you don't want that. You don't need that on your skin. The second thing is you've cross-contaminated the solution that's in there. Our CS20 and HLD5 lasts for 14-day reuse. So if you're putting your fingers in there, you're not letting it last for 14 days. It's going to start to weaken, okay? And then where is being cost effective, right? Where are you saving money? So have those disinfected tongs to be able to go in there. And then make sure you place your tongs somewhere, tongs after you're done using, somewhere where they are not going to get cross-contaminated either, right? You don't want to be using this tong here, there, and everywhere. You want to just keep that tong for your removing your tools from your solution, okay? But the lifting tray does help. Bring it to the sink. You have it by the sink. Lift the lifting tray. You can either pour out your tools in another container that's in the sink to rinse them, or if you're going to rinse them with this lifting tray, what do you have to make sure? That you dry this before you put it back in, okay? So rinse it, rinse the tools, take the tools out, dry them, dry this, and then put it back in, because any water that's going to be on there, once again, it's going to dilute the CS20 or the HLD5, and then it won't be effective anymore. It's going to lose its active, and it's going to be inactive. Now, your other question was the rusting of your tools. There's three reasons that this could happen. First reason is make sure you invest in a higher grade in a metal. There are different types of metals out there, or stainless steel metals that start from a weak to a high grade, so a low to a high grade. So make sure you invest in good. I have my tools still from college, which was a long time ago, and no rusting. So that's one thing. So it's a cheap metal. Second thing is, if your tools are still wet and you're putting them in the solution, they can eventually make your tools rust because of that water. So make sure you dry them properly before you put them into the solution. Third thing is, there are a lot of people who will leave them in the solution for longer than the period of time that it's requested. So remember, your CS20 is 20 minutes only, and your HLT5 is 5 minutes only. Some people will leave them for 6 hours, will leave them overnight. That will eventually create, it's too strong to be sitting in there that long. Once you've reached the 20 minutes or the 5 minutes, take it out. It's not going to kill anything else. It's done, it's achieved its disinfection or its sterilization. So remove it, dry it, store it in a disinfected container. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Jasmine. Yeah, you had somebody else answer that to you and answered what I just mentioned. Thank you. Oh, so I think we've gotten to all the questions. Any other questions? How about on leather chairs, like pedicure chairs and hairstylist chairs? What's best option? Use the RTU, but if it's leather sofas and stuff like that that you want to clean the reception area, maybe you might need to use another cleaner that's meant for using it on these sofas, on leather, because it might wear and tear the solution on your sofas. But on the your massage beds, your pedicure chairs, and your hairstylist station, their chairs, people have been using, professionals have been using the RTU, and it's been okay. Just try not to use CS20 or HLD5 on there, because that could degrade the material. But on leather sofas, to be very careful with the RTU as well. Okay. So Jade, the concentrate is a surface cleaner that must be diluted. What's the difference between that and the RTU? The contact time? Yeah, so basically it is the contact time, and because it's not a ready to use, it's a diluted product. So the concentrate is an intermediate level disinfectant as well, and when you mix it to, so it's meant for the foot baths to break down the biofilm, but it's also all around a cleaner as well. Okay, I don't have my concentrate here. Let me just see something. So the HP level for your PreEmpt RTU is 0.5%. I believe the concentrate might be the same. I have to check on that. I can't remember for the concentrate, but yes, it can be used, excuse me, as a cleaner, all-around cleaner at a 1:40 ratio. If you're going to disinfect, at a 1:128 it can be used to clean first. Okay, because it's not one step like the RTU, so you have to have two different ratios Okay, so 1 to 128 for your cleaning stage, and then 1 to 40 for your disinfecting stage. And the contact time, yes, 5 minutes for the concentrate, 3 minutes for the RTU. Jasmine, perfect. So if we have more questions, oh, Gabriella, you just got here. We still have about 15 minutes. If you wish to ask any questions, there will be a recording for you to have to watch on a later time. Sad to have you missed the beginning, but if you have any questions for the last 15 minutes, it might be repetitive for what everybody else asked, but that's okay. Ask away, okay? Gabrielle? You're welcome. Do you have a link to the webinar from the 15th? Yes, we do, but if also you go on to our YouTube channel, CBONN, so CBON is our company name, and we add another N, so CBONN. If you go to that channel on YouTube, you can get all our PreEmpt recordings on there as well, and the past one that we did. Okay, and any future ones, because we will have some coming up in May. We look out for that for May. We'll have two PreEmpt webinars. The first webinar I'm going to have earlier in May is just going to help you with more information and marketing tools and stuff for when we reopen. And then the second webinar will be just, again, a refresher with the products. Make sure that you're using these products properly and according to the manufacturer label and where to use them, you know, your surfaces, your foot baths. So that'll be the later on in May. But the first one, because some areas in Canada, some provinces will be reopening, hopefully. They have a date set in mind, which is May, in the beginning of May. So if it does approve and they open, for example, I heard Saskatchewan or Prince Edward Island might open a little bit earlier their businesses. So I thought, why not do that webinar and get it out there for everybody to know how to get back to work and fight this virus and be safe. Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for being on the webinar, and I appreciate it. Any other webinars, join in again, okay, in the future. Yes, YouTube. Yes. CBONN, okay. Guyan, is there a possibility to get full training on PreEmpt? And if so, where, when, and what is the cost? As a manufacturer distributor for the podology and aesthetics markets, I would like to have a complete training. Guyan, email me at sorry, I forgot, at cbongroup.com. Sorry, I have so many emails. So education@cbongroup.com. I can put that slide. Give me 1 second. Let me just put that slide with the contact information. Email me and we'll talk about that, okay? Since you are a manufacturer and distributor for podology for the foot care nurses, okay, as well, I believe, probably. So just give me a shout out in an email, not a shout out, email me, and I can help you with that, okay? Jasmine, thank you. I hope it was pretty helpful for everybody to understand how to use the products properly, because PreEmpt is Health Canada approved for using as a disinfectant and the whole line, a cleaner and disinfectant. So make sure that you're using it properly, so that I don't know how soon or how strong the inspector visits will be after this virus. So make sure that you know your product well and that you are using it properly, that you'll be able to tell the health inspector this is how I'm using it. And even for the ones that are soaps, try not to inactivate the solutions. Buy test strips. Our test strips, we have dramatically lowered them, so check the price. So check with your local distributor and carry test strips so that you can get it into the minds of your employees as well. It's not just you who's going to be practicing this, it's going to be your team. It's a team effort for infection control to make sure your company resumes properly and get the economy going and get your business going. So having the test strips will help as well to see if your employees are practicing the proper protocols as well, and also log sheets So this is what I'm going to be talking about more in the next webinar, what you can do as well to help your team. Okay. Thank you, Jasmine. Celine, as always, excellent webinar. Thank you so much. And thank you, Alyssa. Thank you. Sorry. Celine, thank you so much. Sorry, might want to put, I'm just trying to read your message, Celine. Give me 1 second. I only got half of it here. Oh, sorry about that. Natasha? I don't know, it's okay. No. It's just saying, make sure you might want to have Chrissy's name on the screen and not Natasha. No, it's okay. Sorry about that. I know, I'm sorry about the confusion. We will have this fixed, okay? Sorry about it. That's why at the beginning I kind of introduced myself, but no worries. Natasha does help me a great deal with our webinars, but we will have that fixed on the screen that it shows my name. Thanks, Celine. Thank you. Thanks, Renee, for joining in. And Gayan, yes, please. I hope I'm saying your name right, but please, yes, email me after this presentation. Thank you, Tracy. Nice to have you too. Celine. Sorry, .ca. Thank you for noticing that, Celine. I put .com instead of .ca. So yes, I will change that slide too, because that will make a big effect on people not being able to find the website. So it is viroxprobeauty.ca. Okay. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that the information was really helpful. Thank you, Monique. Lori, the refresher is great. I've used this product for quite some time, and there are things I've forgotten, so this was fabulous. Thank you. Thanks. You know what? Myself as well. All these reminders are refreshers and reminders are very useful because, you know, life gets hectic, busy. We do kind of slip away from protocols, practicing the best practices for infection control. So having these reminders is awesome. It's amazing, and we want to take this serious when we get back to work for yourself, for your business, for your team, and for your clients. Okay. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you so much. So we have like 5 more minutes if anybody wants to ask any other questions, but I liked seeing everybody from everywhere around Canada. Thank you, Gayan. I thank you for enjoying this Q&A. And Chantel, thank you. So what I'd like to say is, you know, yes, future webinars, how can you register for your future webinars? So don't mind the slide here because April 24th is today, so that's not the next webinar. We will get the dates out for you early next week, so you can visit our website at, we're going to have them on our CBON one as well. Okay, yeah. So as soon as we get the links and register everything, you can register for the PreEmpt webinars through cbongroup.com.ca or com. I always get that confused. So cbongroup.com. Also, the manufacturer has been posting our webinars on there as well. So you have that second option of the viroxprobeauty.ca, not .com. So you can get from there, and as well on our PreEmpt. So if you go to our Facebook at PreEmpt Disinfectants, so you'll have those 3 means of platforms that you can find our webinars to register for May. So I hope I can have everyone attend and give me feedbacks and letting me know how these webinars have been good for you, have been going for you. Sorry, Yamil, thank you. It was great info for me and also to transfer to my students. Yes, educating your students as well and implementing these protocols and these products in your school as well. A lot of the schools that I go and I teach, they have already brought in PreEmpt and are using it, and their students are getting that knowledge. That's why we go and we teach at our beauty schools and colleges, because they get that knowledge right then, right in the school, and when they get into the field, they are prepared. Okay, so perfect. I just wanted to see what else everybody wrote. Thank you, was good. And today's Friday, not Wednesday. You guys are awesome. You guys are seeing my 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 errors. I'm so sorry. But yes, today is Friday, not Wednesday. Yay, thank goodness it's Friday. Sorry about that. As you can tell, I've been doing a lot of webinars and a lot of preparing and educating myself too on the COVID-19 and going and I myself have been also attending a lot of webinars. So my brain's been all over the place. I'm so sorry. You guys noticed a couple of my mistakes, so I'm so sorry. But yes, we don't know about days anymore, sadly, with what's going on today. It feels like every day is almost like a weekend because if you're working from home, or I don't know if that makes sense, but it is, your days do get jumbled up. So sorry about that, but it is Friday. Looking forward to the brow styling webinar. Oh, thank you, Celine. We got some Reflectacil Reflectacil professionals. Thank you. I'm happy to have all of you guys there. Sorry, I'm reading another question, but I will see you at that webinar as well. Is the HLD, we do have a question from Alessandra. We have 3 more minutes. Is the HLD5 just as effective for sanitizing all your aesthetic tools? So no, you would have to clean, which is a good question, this was asked now, your tools before they get immersed into this CS20 or the HLD5. Thank you for putting this up, this question up. They have to be cleaned first. So with your soap and water, you're going to knock off any debris. A lot of people use like a brusher, little small nail brusher to knock off anything because your cuticles, your nail clippings can get stuck into the crevices of the tools. So make sure that you clean with soap and water to release any debris. Dry your tools and then put it into the solution. So the solutions of the CS20 and HLD5 will not act as a cleaner. So you gotta clean with soap and water first. So good question to ask. Linda, yes, that's so true. Our routines are shot, sadly, and it's a blur. But you know what? We will we'll get back to our routine. It's been difficult for many people. I also want to extend CVON's greeting and care, and we hope that everybody has been doing well during this time, and hopefully nobody's family was affected with this. It was some touching, or it was some trial sometimes that we're dealing with, but as a community, or as also in the industry that we're in, we'll pull together. It'll take a little bit hard when we get back to work to get back to our routine, as well as I mentioned, to get our economy built up again. But we've got the support of our industry and as a community, so we'll make it happen. But I hope everybody has kept well, following the social distancing and helping to flatten the curve. If we do that, Ontario or Canada in general can be back to its normal state. Hopefully, it will take a while too because of how it's extended the virus into spring, summer, and then it can relapse. It can reoccur again because of the flu season that's going to happen and starting from October, right? So in the fall. So if we're prepared to fight this virus, we can once again, if it affects us again with the flu season too, we'll be prepared, right? So we will end it off. I know that someone is trying to type, so we will end it off. I'll wait till that last comment so I don't cut you off, but this was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for myself as well to be able to communicate with distributors, fellow professionals. It's, as I mentioned, it's a tough time, but doing these webinars too, we keep, as I mentioned, united, and it's also something for us to be able to do in this spare time, get our skills sharpened as well, and our knowledge to stay fresh in our mind for when we get back to work. So I appreciate this opportunity as well. And Yamil, hopefully we can all go through this safely and healthy. Exactly. And Daria, thanks, super informative. Thank you. I'm glad that this has helped. Check out the website, virexprobeauty.ca, to get further deeper, because this was more of a Q&A, but to get these files, read up on them, download them, they're PDF form, so you can download them and have a folder ready of stuff that you want to implement when you get back to work, of marketing material, what you want to post up in the washrooms, and maybe even a checklist and we'll talk about that in the next webinar as well. But start preparing your mind now for when we're reopening, okay? So I want to say thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate this. I appreciate everybody being here. And to the next webinar, stay safe and keep well. Thank you.